Shibasaki-san's works and her career. And then there will be a joint reading in English and Japanese. So I'd like to turn the floor over to Professor Heitzman. Thank you.
I'm going to talk just a little bit at length about Shibasaki-san. And our thinking was, normally you give a short introduction and then you hear the reading, and some things stick with you and some things don't. But there's so much going on in her writing, and it's so nice to get to know a bit more about the author before you hear the work. So I thought I'd share with you my thoughts on Shibasaki Tomoka. She, as Elisa said, won Japan's most prestigious literary award, in the sense that it's the most famous, the Akutagawa Prize, in 2014, so it was 2 years ago, for her novella Haru no niwa, Spring Garden, which is going to be released by Pushkin Press in the UK next year, we believe. Pushkin Press is doing some interesting things, some of which are hard to get on this side of the pond, but we're glad that this is going to appear in English. She's had other stories published in Monkey Business, the English language version and the Japanese version, and I know some of you have read those as well. The Akutagawa is, as Elisa said, generally awarded to early career prose writers, many of whom have never written a full-length novel, many of whom want to write a full-length novel, but keep writing novellas in the hopes of getting that prize. And much of the discussion in the judges' statements that accompany the republication of the winning work, because of course it's been published in a literary magazine, is republished in Bunge Shunju, consists of speculation regarding the promise that the winning writer shows. Although the prize is for a specific work, or rarely these days works, it's not unusual for judges to support what they consider to be a flawed effort as a gesture of faith in an interesting writer and what that writer might do in the future. Shibasaki, however, published her first novel in 2000, and so she was a decade and a half into her writing career when she won the prize 2 years ago. And so she's definitely not a newcomer to the literary scene. She had already been translated into English. She had seen one novel, her first, turned into a film, and she had published about 15 books at that point. I believe the count is at 19 right now. And she had won other literary prizes that often go to writers who have first won the Akutagawa Prize. And so she has long been a known quantity in the literary establishment, with an established style and a recognizable voice. And despite the fact that her career has brought her to Tokyo, where she has lived for the last 10 or 11 years, she is considered a writer of Osaka. Her Osakan characters speak to one another in the earthy Kansai dialect of Osaka and its environs that is maybe most famously known as the province of Japanese comedy. Osaka-ben, which sometimes is called Kansai-ben, Shibasaki-san, we've talked about these terms and what they mean. But of course, different areas in Kansai have different dialects. And so what is Kansai-ben is one question she has put to me. But Kansai-ben or Osaka-ben conveys an air of openness and warmth to some people, a sharp contrast to Tokyo's cold formality. And for Shibasaki-san, the Kansai dialect is also marked by its generosity of spirit. And so as you translate a writer who's writing in Osaka dialect, you often are trying to figure out how to convey this way of speaking in English. And you have seen people do terrible things to Osaka-ben. They've made it southern, they've made it very slangy. It seems to be an impossible task. But we have one answer for you today, which is that it's not just about the verb endings or the particular language that's being used. It also, in Shibasaki's mind, has to do with how people talk to one another. And so this is her anecdote. In Tokyo, she claims, you go into a store and you ask if they have such and such kind of pen, and they have no problem simply telling you no. And that's the end of the conversation. And she says, in Osaka, you can't do that. You wouldn't do that. The proper answer is something like, oh, we had it in stock until yesterday. If only you had come yesterday. And you're providing a way for the person who's visiting your shop to continue the conversation if they so choose. It's very nearly the beginning of a story. In Osaka, the speaker always feels an obligation to provide an opening for the conversation to continue. The first time as Tokyo store clerk gave Shibasaki a matter-of-fact response to a question, she says she was actually shocked and felt she was in a totally different place now. When her characters speak, sentences trail off, conversations wander blithely, far afield from where they started. And it's as though the social codes of Osaka are inscribed into many of her stories and novels. To read Shibasaki is to feel privy to the way people really talk in Osaka, and to feel the actual social interactions of young Japanese people, how they fight, how they maintain the peace, how they love, often unrequitedly. So time and place are important in Shibasaki's work, but in a very particular way. And we've called this event Shibasaki Tomoka's Literature of Location. When a location is mentioned in her stories, you can be sure that it actually exists in our world. And sometimes it's very carefully detailed and it's named. If you've read modern Japanese literature to any extent, you've probably read stories where characters are identified by the initials and locations are referred to cryptically. And sometimes it's a game, sometimes it's designed to obscure these facts. In Shibasaki's work, you often know exactly where you are. And yet, the specificity with which Shibasaki renders location, and I use location to mean a story's position not only in space but also in time, is accompanied by a powerful attempt in other ways to render it indeterminate. In Shibasaki's first novel, for example, it's sometimes referred to as A Day on the Planet, which was the English title given to the film version of it. It's definitely a reference to A Night on the Planet, the Jim Jarmusch film. But in Japanese, Kyo no dekigoto could be today's news, what happened today, today's occurrences. And in this 2000 novel, 7 friends spend an evening together to celebrate one's move to Kyoto for graduate school. They get drunk, they play video games, they give terrible haircuts, they wander the city at night. And each of the 5 sections of the novel is marked with a specific date and time, but the scenes are out of chronological order. And so the book moves from March 25th at 3 a.m. to March 24th at 6 p.m., to March 25th at 4 a.m., to March 24th at 1 p.m., to March 25th at 3 a.m. again. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And yet, unlike the film version of it, which is by Isao Yukisada, who's famous for his film Go, unlike Isao's film version of it, the novel does not come full circle. It doesn't gather everybody together again at the end. The characters that appear in this final 3 a.m. scene are different characters in a different place from the ones in the initial 3 a.m. scene. And so you have characters that are in different places who come together for this moment and go apart again. And so they were together in this novel for a single scene. But the novel's structure is like, to borrow one of Shibasaki's favorite images, a constellation of stars. These scenes are in proximity to one another, and it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to draw lines to connect them, and if so, which lines you want to draw. Meaning, nothing in the novel hinges on these flashbacks and flash forwards. We may get to know people a little better, but there's nothing that's a mystery in any given scene that's clarified by information in other scenes necessarily. If anything, the structure of the novel makes it a playful figure of resistance to some of the plot-driven novels in Japanese of recent years in which time is played with deliberately as kind of a game. And crucial information related to time and location are deliberately withheld from the reader and supplied only at the end to resolve the seemingly irreconcilable loose threads of the story and to make the narrative sequence clear. Such a narratological feint plays a role in, and here are some examples you may have heard of. I think they all have film versions. Inui Kurumi's Initiation Love from 2004. Higashino Keigo's Naoki Prize-winning mystery, The Devotion of Suspect X. Minato Kanae's Confession, Kokohaku from 2008. In very different ways, these are mysteries in which the reconciling force is not a detective. There's no individual in these novels that puts it all together. There's nobody whose powers of intuition make sense of the central mystery, but rather it's the narrative itself that does that. And you yourself come to, in some cases, a shock surprise because you have had to put these different narrative threads together. But Shibasaki's stories are less concerned with the all-powerful narrative. There is no, as she has said, natural narrative arc to the stories. But rather she's concerned with the people inside of them. People who are a lot like us, limited by their own experiences, central figures or supporting characters or bit players in any given narrative, depending on who's telling the narrative and whose perspective it's told from. All of them figures in a tangle of narrative, necessarily incomplete, that make up existence as we know it. And yet, her stories always offer the possibility of something more. At times, the conflation of different places and different times in Shibasaki's writing borders on science fiction. And I've said this to her, and she's taken this as a compliment. I'm sure other people have said this to her too, because she's a science fiction fan. At the opening to her short story, Shortcut, which is from 2003, a loopy young man tells a woman that he meets on a gokon, a group date in Japan, that he's able to warp, by which he means he's found a way to teleport instantaneously from Osaka to the fashionable Omotesando neighborhood in Tokyo. It's true love that made it possible, he says. And the protagonist, Natsu, thinks of a boy that she loves who's moved to Tokyo. Later, after a break in the text, I'm giving away part of it here, she opens her eyes and she finds herself in Tokyo. Has she teleported there, or has she gone by more conventional means? We will never know. But the indeterminacy of how she has traveled over these hundreds of kilometers to Tokyo and how long it took her bristles against the careful description of the scene looking toward Omotesando from Harajuku, which is recognizable to anyone who has spent any time in the Tokyo area. She describes the rolling road as it goes down and then up again toward Omotesando, the swarms of humans on the street, the giant trees that loom over all, together with the fact that the narrative present has jolted into the place that has been, until now, only the setting of a described place, meaning this thing which is a narrative within a narrative has suddenly moved to the top level and has become the scene itself. In addition to that, the story insists on the magic of narrative to reinvigorate the everyday, to make even the most pedestrian of settings come alive in a new way. And so that brings us to what we're going to read selections of for you today. Right here, which in Japanese is Koko de, from 2011. In this story, location is again important. And I'm going to, as an example of how this works, walk you through what it actually looks like. If you're looking for the story, well, as Elisa sets this up, it's in Watashi ga inakatta machi de, which is published in hardcover, published again as a bunkobon. It contains a novel and then this story at the end. Shibasaki-san is a rewriter. And so if you're interested in her literature, find the bunkobon if one exists, because in many cases the story's been rewritten for the paperback. Some writers do nothing and others do a lot. In this case, she has not done so much, she said, but in other novels, character names change. All sorts of things happen, and so this is a literature that's in progress. Some of you read background music. It's a story in progress. Apparently, it's going to continue. And so in this story, the protagonist starts at the Osaka IKEA store. And so it's very easy to figure out exactly where on the planet she is today. The protagonist walks to the top of the Namihaya Bridge, starting on the side where the Osaka IKEA store stands. Everything about the bridge is described exactly as it is, from the pedestrian walkway that cannot be accessed without darting across a traffic lane below the bridge, to the slope of the bridge, to its railings. And so let me walk you through this opening scene. We're not going to read this. It's quite long. If you start on Google Maps, you're starting here at the IKEA, and you're moving across that bridge with the number 5 on it up there, which brings you to a different ku, or ward of Osaka. And so we're moving that direction, north on this map. IKEA, it's interesting, it's surrounded, we're told, by this reclaimed land, which they had some idea for at some point in the past, and it's just remained empty. And so you have this fields of emptiness, things get pushed around, roads have been built, they're beautiful, beautiful sidewalks, you know how this goes, and then just a new grassland around it, with only an IKEA store there. And so this is where we start. And the character finds the IKEA, but really wants to walk across this bridge. So he finds this walkway in front of the IKEA, and he says, okay, I'm going to go over there and take a right and head that way. And now he's moving down, and you can see how steep the slope of this bridge is. Japan is famous for some bridges that really go far up very quickly, and you can see it rising in the distance there. And so we move down the road, and the traffic goes up, but the pedestrian walkway is not with them. It's somewhere else. And the narrator knows it's under this bridge. Here's IKEA off to our left still, and then the reclaimed land where maybe something's going on, but not much so far over here. But we're continuing to go down this sidewalk here. She continues under, and there's the entrance up ahead. And you can see that the walkway is there in blue underneath the bridge. And in the story, the narrator's right here and says, well, but how do I get over to it? There's no way to get to it except to run across traffic on this road without streetlights. And this is true in our world as well. And so she runs across traffic. Here's the entrance on this side. And there's a little walkway there. And here's the entrance to it. And she goes up. Unfortunately, the Google car does not tend to go on pedestrian walkways. So I'm limited, but the narrator goes up and she talks about how the bridge juts out, the pedestrian walkway juts out from under the bridge and then returns to it. And if you're reading this story, you're thinking, am I reading this right? Would anybody actually do this? And so it's fun to go to Google Maps and see, good grief, they really did. They jutted it out and sent it back to the bridge, and you can see where it finally connects. It's way up in the air at this point. And then the narrator gets to this point and joins the traffic. You can see the blue bridge in the background here and the city. And now we're up on the bridge. There's a red bridge off. This is to the left of the bridge. This is the scene to the right of the bridge. And this is where we are going to start our reading today. So everything is described exactly as it is in this world. The train that the characters are going to ride in a subsequent scene from Kobe to Osaka is clearly the Hankyu Kobe line. We know this because the stops are identified by name. We are able to determine that the events of the story, which are again out of chronological order, occur in 2010 and 2011. And there's a reference to the devastating earthquake and tsunami that struck northern Japan on March 11th, 2011. This appeared in Gunzo でしたっけ? In Gunzo in October of 2011, along with another story by Ono Masatsugu, who also recently won the Akutagawa Prize. They were asked to write about March 11th, and she chose to do so in a very oblique way. In that the disaster appears in this narrative, but not directly, and there's a past trauma that's submerged beneath the 2011 tragedy, namely the 1995 Kobe earthquake. Perhaps the narrative ricocheting back and forth, like the chirping of swallows in the final scene, is a testament to the movement of memory itself. And in a scene that we're not going to read for you today, the narrator spends time with her niece, who's a toddler. And her niece points out to her various places around the room where she's hit her head in the past. And she says, Koko de, Koko de. Here's where I hit my head, and here's where I hit my head, and here's where I hit my head. And the narrator is surprised to realize that her niece, who's only a toddler, has a sense of the past, and she didn't know she had this until now. And the girl spends her days in this room with a dual sense of how this room exists now in the present, and what has happened in this place in the past. Perhaps, as with the narrator's niece, what makes us human is the ability to live in multiple times and multiple places at once. And in this story, we are reminded to say, with the gift of memory, before I experience this same kind of thing, right here and right here. And so, hand it over to you.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for coming today. I'm happy to be here. ここで一歩前に出るたび風景は素晴らしくなった。小型飛行機で飛んでいるみたいな景色だった。いつの間にか赤い巨大クレーンも後方に、そのてっぺんも下に見えるようになっていた。二つの火口が出会う水面は小さな船が行き交い、白い波が奇跡を作っているが、音は聞こえない。時々どこの工場からか鉄がぶつかる音が響くだけだ。冷たい風が吹き、ニットキャップを目深にかぶり直す。向かいからサウナスーツを着込んだ男がランニングしてきて行き過ぎた。ほどなく一番高いところにたどり着き、ようやく左に緩くカーブした道路の下っていく先が見えた。柵の上部にカメラを置いて安定させ、フィルム1本分と iPhone のカメラで10カットほど撮影した。右側にはいくつかの川筋に貫かれた大阪の街が広がる。まだ新しい青い鉄骨のアーチ橋、工場、精密機械の部品のように地表を埋め尽くす住宅、そこかしこに増えたタワーマンション、遠くには生駒山の影、厚い灰色の雲の隙間から光が少しだけ差して宗教画みたいにも見えた。左側には大阪湾が鈍く光っていた。夕日の時間に来たら死ぬほど美しいだろう。カメラも iPhone も落とさなかったことに安心して前方を見ると、どこまでも続いて見える道路のずっと先にはユニバーサル・スタジオ・ジャパンのホテルが見え、阪神高速湾岸線の吊り橋の支柱が見え、西宮方面の街並みが六甲山のふもとへ連なるのが見えた。思ったよりもきつくなく遠くも感じなかったので、すぐに帰るのはもったいないような気もしつつ、ずっと立っていると寒いので引き返そうと振り返った。その瞬間、自分が立っていたのは頂上から少し行き過ぎたところで、歩いてきた道路がほんの少し盛り上がって元来た方へ伸びていた。さっきまで右側だった柵は左側になり、スカスカの鉄柵の隙間から暗い水面が見えた。動きがないように見えたさざ波は確実に大阪湾の方へと流れていた。その瞬間、橋が水の流れと反対方向にゆっくりと動いたように感じた。 自分の足元に高さ45メートル分の何百メートルにもわたる広大な空間があることが、その虚空が一瞬にして体の芯を貫いた。突然一歩も動けないどころか、指先さえ動かすことができなくなった。全身から血の気が引き、膝の力が抜けた。ほんの少しでも動いたら、あっさりとこの適当な柵を乗り越えて海に飛び込むことができると思った。歩道を歩いている人はいないし、簡単に私はそうすることができる。自分が飛び込むのを止められる気がしなかった。誰も気づかない間に実行する。足が全く動かないまま、なんとか前後を振り返ったが、人影はどこにもいない。間を空けて車が通るが、多分こういう道路では止まってはくれないだろう。息を大きく吸い込み、右手を伸ばして車道との境の柵をつかんだが、足は動かないので後ろに倒れかかったような苦しい体勢になった。110番。事件ですか？事故ですか？波早大橋の上で動けなくなったんですけど、迎えに来ていただくことはできないでしょうか？登るのは全然どうもなかったんですけど、一番高いところで動かれへんよくなって怒られるよな。いや、怒られたからといってどうだというのだ。たまに高いところから降りられへんくなった猫とか助けてるニュースやってるし、猫を助けてくれるなら人間を助けない道理はなかろう。どうにかしてここから帰る方法を考えなければ。110番。怒られたって構わぬではないか。税金より命の方が大切。地上45メートルに浮かぶ道路はゆっくり地球の自転みたいに動いていた。動いているのは水の方だったが、このまま傾いていって振り落とされるのではないかと恐ろしかった。はるか遠くにIKEAの建物が見える。なんとかあそこまで。左足を地面にすりつけたまま動かす。少しでも油断すると欄干へ向かって走り出しそうだった。川のことも工場もクレーンも考えないように足元だけを見る。普通の道路、普通の道路、ここは普通の道路。左手も車道側の柵をつかむことができた。走ってきた軽トラックを見るが、フロントガラスに空が反射して運転手の顔は見えなかった。鼻の奥を通る空気が冷たく、氷のように冷たくなった。
The scenery became ever more fabulous with every step forward. It felt as though I were flying in a small airplane above the city. Somewhere along the way, the giant red cranes had joined with the rest of the city, and I was looking down at even the heavens above them. Boats came and went across the water where the two rivers joined, leaving white lines in their wakes, but the sound didn't reach here. The only thing that I could hear was the occasional clank of metal on metal from a factory somewhere. A cold wind was blowing, and I pulled my knit cap lower on my forehead. A man in a sauna suit came up from the other side and ran past me. Before long, I had arrived at the top, and I could at last see where the road descended ahead, gently curving to the left. I rested the camera on top of the railing and shot off a roll of film, and then took a series of 10 photos on my iPhone. To my right lay the streets of Osaka, laced with the various waterways. A still new blue steel-framed arch bridge, factories, houses that blanketed the land as intricately as precision instrument parts. Apartment towers that had popped up here and there. Farther off, the silhouette of Mount Ikoma. In just a few spots, rays of light pierced the thick gray clouds. It kind of looked like a sacred painting. To the left, Osaka base shone dully. I imagined that it was probably blinding if you came at sunset. Relieved that I had dropped neither my camera nor my iPhone, I looked ahead of me. The road went on and on into the distance, and far ahead I could see the hotels at Universal Studios, the towers for the suspension bridge of the Bayshore line of the Hanshin Expressway, and in the direction of Nishinomiya, the city extending into the foothills of the Rokko Mountains. The ascent hadn't been any steeper or longer a climb to the top than I had imagined, so it seemed a shame to turn around and go back right away. But at the same time, it was cold just standing around up here, so I turned to make my descent. That was the moment. I was standing just a little bit past the absolute top, and the path I had walked was ever so slightly rounded, stretching down to where I had first started from. The fencing that had been on my right was now to my left, and through the gaps in the metal bars, I could see the dark surface of the water. The ripples that had seemed not to be moving at all were, I could see now, flowing in the direction of Osaka Bay. At that moment, I had the feeling the bridge was slowly moving in a direction opposite to the current. The chasm of space beneath my feet, 45 meters down, however many hundreds of meters from shore to shore, that void tore through the center of me in a flash. Suddenly, not only was I unable to take a single step forward, I couldn't even wiggle the tips of my fingers. My whole body drained of energy, and my legs went wobbly on me. By moving just a little bit, I could clamber over this flimsy guardrail and plunge into the sea. There was no one else on the pedestrian path with me, and it would be so easy to do. I didn't have the energy to stop myself from jumping. I could make it happen without anyone realizing it. My feet wouldn't budge even an inch, but I managed to turn my head to look around. There was no sign of anyone in front or back of me. The occasional car came past, but there was probably no way they could stop for me on this kind of road. I took a deep breath and stretched out my right hand until I could grasp the railing, separating the walkway from the road. But my feet refused to move, and I wound up contorted in an awkward position, nearly falling backward. I could dial 110, the police emergency number. Are you calling about a crime or an accident? I have suddenly become unable to move at the top of the Namihaya Bridge. Is there any way I could have someone out here to help me out? I didn't have any trouble the entire way up, but I got to the highest point and everything kind of froze. They wouldn't be happy with me. But who cares if they get upset? Every once in a while you see them on the news helping a cat get down from a tall place it's stuck in. If they help cats, surely they'll help a human being. One way or another, I need to figure out some way to get back. 110, I don't care if they don't like it. Isn't a life worth the expense to the public? The path that floated more than 45 meters above the surface of the earth was turning over now, slowly, like the planet rotating. It was really the water in the background that was moving, but I was afraid that if it kept tilting like this, I would be thrown off the bridge. In the far distance, I could see the IKEA building. Somehow I had to get there. I moved forward by sliding my left foot along the ground. If I let down my guard even a bit, I might turn and start running toward the railing. I tried to put the river and even the factories and cranes out of my mind and looked only at the ground in front of my feet. It's a regular road, this is just a regular old road. I was able to get my left hand over to grip the railing, separating the walkway from the road. I looked at the small trucks as they came by, but their front windshields reflected the sky, and I couldn't see the drivers' faces. I breathed cold air in through my nose. It flowed to the back of my sinuses, cold as ice.
車窓の外は真っ暗で、向かいの座席の人たちの頭の隙間に私たちの姿がはっきりと映っていた。東京昼過ぎに出た新幹線は向こう側を過ぎるとトンネルで外は見えなくなった。それで阪急神戸線で大阪の実家に向かう今は景色が見たかったのだが、線路近くの建物の電灯が行き過ぎるだけだった。今日のトークイベントの依頼を受けたのは会場が三宮だからだった。3月の地震以来、私は何度も神戸のことを思い出していた。三宮を歩いたのはおそらく10年ぶりくらいで、記憶にあるいくつもの解体中だった建物が今はどの新しいビルになったのか結びつけられなかった。駅から会場のカフェまでの10分ほどの距離だけでも暑かった。以前にその上り坂を歩いたことがあったかどうかも分からず、風景が前と違うのか違わないのか思い浮かばずに、初めて訪れた街のようにも思った。特にさっき坂を下って駅に出るまで、露出部分の多い格好をした女の子たちが酔っ払って大騒ぎしているのがタクシーのヘッドライトに照らされているのを見たとき、 それでもなぜか街全体が健全に賑やかなように感じていたのだが、考えてみたら終電間際の時刻に三宮にいたことは今までになかった。ほんまは新聞で連載してた写真付きエッセイに載せるつもりで行ったんですけど、こんなん載せて行ってみた人に何かあったらあかんと思って自分でボツにしたんですよ。ようさん撮ったのにお蔵入りです。その後渡し船のとこまで行って撮り直して。渡し船？奈良原さんは期待通りに聞き返してくれたが、幸穂は iPhone の画面に見入ったままだった。工場に行く船を通すために橋がみんな30メートルぐらいあるんで、人が渡るの大変やから渡し船があるんですよ。矢切の渡しみたいなんじゃなくて、エンジンがポンポンポンポンっていうやつ、みんな自転車で乗るし。へえ、ユニークなところにお住まいなんですね。奈良原さんの関西弁はこの年齢の人にしては古風な上にとても正確な発音で、長く続くお家の方だろうかと勝手に想像した。休日なのに白い解禁シャツにグレーのズボンを履いていて、小津安二郎あたりの映画に出てくる会社員が間違えて今日の阪急電車に乗ってしまったというふうにも見えた。膝に置いたカバンの持ち手を両手で握っている。あとはカンカン帽でもかぶせたら。めっさ行きたい。明日行こうかな、明日。幸穂は検索に夢中で、早速もう片方の手に持った携帯電話で誰かにメールを打ち始めた。幸穂に会うのも2年ぶりで、誰かのツイッターでイベントの情報を見て急に見に来てくれた。それから突然高いところが全くダメになって、ガラスとかで覆われてるとこは大丈夫なんですけど、高層ビルとか乗ってみてはないけど観覧車とかも平気やと思います。でも飛び降りれる状態というか、リアルに落ちそうなとこは2、3メートルでも怖くて凝ったデザインの店で階段の手すりがスカスカ飲んでも無理。その時4階に住んでたんですけど、洗濯物干すのにベランダ出るたび下を覗かな気が済まへんようになって、引っ越し先は2階にしました。覗くって逆やん。怖かったら見いひんかったらええのに。携帯電話を握る右手の指を素早く動かしながら幸穂が言った。それがなんか確かめないと気持ち悪いというか、下覗いてゾワーッとするのを体験したいというか、怖さチェック的な。ようわからんこと言うて。メールはあっという間に完成し送信される。中毒症状かな。もしかしたら大丈夫になってるかもしらんと期待してるんかも。だってあんなになんともなかったのに、急に元に戻ることもあるんちゃうかなって。あの橋もほんま景色いいからもう一回行きたいし。いつ行ったんやったっけ？去年の2月やからもう1年半ぐらい経つか。今度一緒に行こうか。人がおったら大丈夫ちゃう？腕掴んどいたるし。それで何かあったら全員がトラウマとなって目も当てられないんでしょうから、やめといた方がええんちゃいますか？奈良原さんは銀縁の眼鏡を光らせて穏やかな笑顔でそう言った。私もそれから多分幸穂もそうなった場合の状況や心情が妙にたやすく想像できてしまい、返す言葉が出てこなかった。私は話題をずらした。花火とかええんちゃいますかね。西成区に行く側の方にももっと昔からある橋があって、そこには両側が螺旋状になってるから眼鏡橋って呼んでるんですけど、真ん中の川を渡ってまっすぐなとこは多分30メートルぐらいの高さかな。花火の時は鈴なりに人がおるって言ってた、弟が。なるほど、花火やな、花火。幸穂は今度はこの夏の花火大会を検索し始めた。10年近く前に天神祭りの花火を近くのビルの15階から見下ろした時のその丸い花火の形が頭に浮かんだ。宵闇を映して黒く蛇行する川の上に浮かんでいた火花。僕、花火って苦手ですねん。ドキドキしますやろ。疲れるというか体がダメージ受けますわ。基本的に気持ちがわーっとなることは全部飽きませんのやけどね。情けない話やけど。南米なんかやとサッカーの応援で死ぬ人おる言いますけど、高校野球の1回戦見てるだけでそんなような感じになりますね。だからまあスポーツは全般に苦手ですね。プロ野球の消化試合、あれええですね。 やっと幸穂が関心を示し、なぜか私の頭の後ろ側から奈良原さんに声をかけた。じゃあ趣味って何ですか？盆栽とか囲碁とか？植物は枯れそうになったらドキッとしますし、囲碁は勝負のせめぎ合いいうもんがあるやないですか。家でゴロゴロして、ああ今日も日が暮れていくないう時が一番いいですね。嫁さんはおもろない人と結婚してもうた言うて嘆いてます。確かにもうちょっとアクティブさが欲しいところですね。旅行も行かないんですか？幸男が話しやすいように上半身を傾けていた私は、カーゴパンツの裾に蚊が止まっているのを発見して叩いたが逃げられた。新婚旅行に行ったきりですね。その時飛行機が怖って怖って。IKEA は多分大丈夫ですよ。そんなドキドキするようなことないと思います。体を起こして言うと、今度は幸穂が眉をひそめた。私コストコもそうやけど、あの倉庫部分があかん。入られへん。地震来たら絶対やばいやん。だから小物は買うけど家具は買うたことないねん。倉庫？背筋を伸ばしたまま首をかしげる奈良原さんに、私は外資系大型量販店の内部構造を説明した。展示場みたいに広い倉庫の天井いっぱいまでドーンと大きい荷物の塊が積んであって、ほうほう、なるほど。それはちょっと行ってみないとどないな感じになるか分かりませんな。あの倉庫方式さえ何とかしてくれたらな。私もあれは前から怖かってん。落ちた話は聞かんけど対策ってしてあんのかな。怖いっていうのは落ちてきそうみたいな感じのことやろ。私が言うてるのは揺れたら落ちるやんっていうこと。怖いとは違う。なるほど、違うと思うと幸穂が言った後、急に沈黙が訪れた。私たちが話している間に電車は一つ一つの駅に止まり、最終電車のせいか心持ち長めに各駅で扉を開いていた。生ぬるい湿気を含んだ空気がドアのあたりで混じり合ったが、風はなかった。乗客は少しずつ減って座席にも隙間が増えていた。何度も通過して何度も見ているのに降りたことのない駅が目の前にあり、歩いたことのない街が闇の向こうに広がっていた。
All was dark outside of the train carriage, and in the spaces between the heads of the people sitting across from us, we were clearly reflected in the window. On the bullet train down from Tokyo in the afternoon, it had been all tunnels past the Mukogawa River, and I hadn't been able to see a thing. So I had wanted to look at the scenery here on the Hankyu Kobe line, heading for my family's home in Osaka. But the only thing visible was the lights of the buildings along the track as they whizzed by. I had agreed to today's talk event because it was held at Sannomiya in Kobe. After the earthquake in March, my thoughts had kept going back to Kobe. It had probably been a decade since I had walked around in Sannomiya, and I had trouble connecting all of the buildings in my memory that had been in the process of being demolished with all of the various new buildings that stood in their places. It was only 10 minutes walk from the station to the cafe where the talk was to be held, but it was hot out. I didn't know whether I had walked up that slope before or not, and I never had the sensation of this is different from before or this is unchanged, and I felt it was very possible I was walking the street for the first time. And just now when we came down the slope on the way back to the station and saw the wild clutch of drunk girls in their skin-bearing outfits as they were reflected in the headlights of the taxis, even then I felt that somehow the whole area was lively in a wholesome way. Although, thinking back, until now I had never been in Sannomiya close to the last train. Actually, I went to the bridge thinking I would publish an essay with photos as part of a series I'm doing in a newspaper. But then I thought that it wouldn't be good if I were to publish something about it and people went there and something happened to them. So I killed my own story. I took a ton of photos that will go into the file, and I started all over again, taking photos of the ferry boat. Ferry boat? Narahara replied, as one would expect him to, but Sachiho was absorbed in her iPhone. In order for ships to be able to pass through to get to the factories, the bridges have to be about 30 meters above the water. But that makes it difficult for people to walk across, so there's a ferry. It isn't like the Yagiri ferry, where the boatman paddles you across. It has one of those putt-putt-putt-putt engines, Everyone takes their bicycles across on it. How about that? You certainly do live in a unique place. Narahara's Kansai accent seemed old-fashioned for his age, and moreover, his intonation was extremely precise. I decided that he must come from a family with deep roots in the area. Even though it wasn't a work day, he was wearing a white open-neck shirt and gray slacks. He looked like an office worker out of an Ozu Yasujiro film who had taken a wrong turn and wound up on a Hankyu train in the present. He held onto the handles on the bag in his lap with both hands. The only thing that he was missing was a straw boater on his head. I totally want to go. Tomorrow, let's go tomorrow. Sachiho, still lost in her internet search reverie, quickly started thumbing out an email to someone on the cell phone she held in her hand. I was seeing Sachiho for the first time in 2 years. She had seen information about my event on somebody's Twitter feed and had dropped everything to come see it. Since that moment, I've all of a sudden become afraid of heights. If I'm not fully enclosed in glass or something, I told them, then no problem. So skyscrapers or Ferris wheels, not that I've gone on one to check it out, but those should be fine. But if it's something I can fall off of, or if I could really fall from it, even if I'm only 2 or 3 meters off the ground, it's just scary, scary. I can't take those staircases in over-designed shops with their minimalist handrails. At the time it happened, I lived on the 4th floor, but it's got to the point that every time I went out on the veranda to hang up my laundry, I just had to look down over the edge. I moved to a 2nd floor apartment. That's the last thing you should be doing. If it's scary to you, then you shouldn't be looking, Sachiho said, even as her right thumb flew across the surface of her cell phone. Yeah, how do I explain it, I said. I can't stand not confirming it. It's like I want to experience that feeling of looking down and ay. I'm checking to see if the fear is still there. I don't understand what you're saying. Sachiho had finished dashing off her text and was sending it off. It's like a sign of addiction, maybe. I always have this expectation that maybe it's going to get better. I mean, considering that nothing really happened, I keep thinking maybe things will go back to the way they were. The view from the bridge was really fantastic, and I really want to go there again. When was it you were last there? February of last year, so it's already been 1.5 years. Well, how about we go together this time? You could be fine with other people there, right? And we can link arms. And this time, if something happens, it becomes traumatic for everyone. And wouldn't that be a disaster? You may want to rethink this, Narahara said, his smiling face placid and the light reflecting off of his wire-rimmed glasses. The situation he conjured up was all too easy for me to imagine, and probably for Sachiho too. Neither of us had a reply for him. I changed the subject. Maybe fireworks would be better. If you go in the other direction from my neighborhood toward Nishinari Ward, there's an even older bridge. It spirals up from the ground on both sides, so we call it the Glasses Bridge. The straight part in the middle that crosses the river is maybe 30 meters in the air. My brother says it's swarming with people who are there for fireworks. Oh yes, fireworks then, fireworks, Sachiho began searching for summer fireworks events. My mind was full of the spherical bursts of fireworks of the Tenjin Festival that I had watched from the 15th floor of a nearby building almost 10 years earlier. They floated above the dark, meandering river that reflected the twilight sky. I don't do well with the fireworks, Narahara said. My heart starts beating wildly. It's exhausting. Or maybe I should say that it inflicts damage on my body. Basically, I can't stand anything exhilarating, sad as I know that may be. You know how in South America, places like that, there are people who die rooting for soccer teams? I watch a first-round game in the high school baseball tournament. That's about right where I am. So I guess you could say I pretty much can't watch any sports. End of season Major League Baseball games between teams that have already missed out on the playoffs, those are my speed. Finally, Sachiho showed some interest in the conversation. She replied to Narahara through the back of my head for some reason. So what do you like to do? Bonsai, or maybe go, or... I panic whenever plants start to wither. And isn't Go really just a struggle to defeat your opponent? No, my favorite thing to do is rattle around the house and eventually say, "Ah, there goes the sun for today." My wife is always wailing, "Oh, I've gone and married someone truly dull." I can see how she'd want you to be a little more active about things. You never travel anywhere? I had turned my upper body so that it was easier for Sachiho to join in the conversation. I slapped at a mosquito that had landed on the hem of my cargo pants, but he got away. Our honeymoon was the first and last time. The plane flight was awful, just awful. IKEA will probably be okay for you. It isn't that thrilling of a place, I said, standing up. Now it was Sachiho's turn to furrow her brow. This is true of Costco, too, but I can't stand the warehouse part. I won't go in. If an earthquake were to hit, it would be totally dangerous. So I'll get little things there, but I've never bought furniture from them. Warehouse? I explained the interior layout of a foreign warehouse club to Narahara, who was sitting straight up with his head cocked to one side. There's a wide open warehouse area, kind of like an exhibition hall, filled to the ceiling with stacks and stacks of massive blocks of merchandise. Well, is that so? Sounds like it's difficult to get a real sense of it without actually going there. Oh, if they would just do something else instead of that warehouse system. I always thought it was scary too. I've never heard of anything collapsing, but I wonder if they have any sort of plan to deal with an emergency. I'm saying I don't like being afraid of something that might fall. I'm not talking about the actual fact of things shaking and falling. That's a totally different matter from feeling afraid. I get you. I think it's a completely different thing. After Sachiho said this, we suddenly fell silent. While we had been talking, the train had stopped at station after station. Maybe because it was the last train of the night, the doors seemed to stay open at each station slightly longer than usual. The tepid, humid air seemed to flow in near the doors, but there was no breeze. The number of passengers dwindled little by little, and the number of open seats increased accordingly. Stations that I had passed through any number of times, that I had looked at any number of times, but at which I had never gotten off the train, appeared before my eyes, and the streets that I had never walked spread out before me in the darkness.
東京に戻る新幹線は大雨で少し遅れた。すぐ前の座席には歌手の女の子が座っていた。テレビで見て思っていたよりずっと華奢だった。男ばかりのスタッフに囲まれて退屈そうにしていた。普段普通車に乗っているのは意外だったが、今はそんなものかもしれない。座席と窓の間に彼女が iPhone を操作してどうやらブログを更新しているらしいのが見えた。私は自分の iPhone で彼女の名前で検索してみた。1分前に更新されたそのページには、みんなのラブが力に変わるよ、信じてるすべての人に感謝と書いてあった。これは今年の2011年の夏の初めのこと。駅前のロータリーでタクシーを降り、一方通行の商店街を歩いた。もうすぐ夜が明ける時刻だったが、薄明るいのは空のせいではなく、商店街の街灯のせいだった。節電で看板の照明が消えたままのコンビニエンスストアの前には、LED に交換するために取り外した照明器具が山積みされ、作業服の男たちが出入りしていた。薄いビニールが店内の棚や壁を覆っていたが、気にせずに立ち読みを続ける人の姿が見えた。眠気のピークを通り越してぼんやりした頭で眺めていたら、すぐそばを黒い影がすり抜けた。見上げるとツバメが美しい奇跡を描いて電線に止まった。電線にはすでに5羽のツバメがいた。もう2羽か3羽が飛び交っていた。タクシーを降りた時からそこら中でツバメが鳴くのが聞こえていた。ほとんど人通りのない狭い道の両側に迫った建物に反射してツバメの鳴き声が響き渡っていた。軽やかな鈴のような歌のようなその声はいくつもいくつも重なり合って蛍光灯が照らす紫色の夜明けと錯覚する光にあふれた通りに途切れることなく響き続けていた。 一組だけ前を歩いていた酔っ払った夫婦らしい男女が頭上を見渡した。私と同じように。あんなにたくさんのツバメの声を一時に聞いたことはなかった。しかしそんな遅い時間まで外で過ごすようなことはこの何ヶ月もなかったので、それがどの日のことだったのか手帳をめくっていくら考えても思い出せない。
The bullet train I took back to Tokyo was a little late on account of the rain. Sitting in the seat directly in front of me was a singer. She looked much more delicate than she did on TV. She was surrounded by her all-male staff, and she looked bored. I was surprised to see her in an ordinary car, but that was probably the world we lived in now. In the space between her seat and the window, she was doing something on her iPhone. It looked to me as though she might be updating her blog. On my own iPhone, I did a search using her name. On her page, updated 1 minute earlier, she had written, "The love I receive from everybody turns into strength. I really believe this. I am grateful to you all." And here's the second scene. This is something that happened in the early summer of this year, 2011. I got out of the taxi on the rotary in front of the train station and walked down a shopping arcade narrow enough that traffic could only go in one direction. It was almost morning, but the dim light of the place wasn't coming from the sky, but from the lights of the arcade. In front of a convenience store that had turned off its sign as part of the energy curtailment sat a pile of light bulbs that had been traded out for LED lighting. The men working there were moving in and out of the store. Thin plastic worksheets covered the shelves and walls, but I could see the figures of unfazed people standing and reading the magazines. I had moved past the worst of my sleepiness, and now my head was merely in a haze. As I watched the scene, a flurry of black shadows tore past me. I looked up to see swallows carving a beautiful arc through the air and coming to rest on a telephone wire. There were already 5 swallows on the line, with another 2 or 3 fluttering down around them. Since I had left the taxi, I had heard these swallows chirping around there. The buildings pressed close on either side of the narrow street, and hardly anyone was there. The birds' cries ricocheted back and forth. Their voices flowed over one another 1,000 times over, like airy bells, like songs, in this street bathed in the purple glow of the fluorescent lights, the illusory light of dawn, echoing on without pause. The only other people there were walking in front of me on the street, a tipsy couple who appeared to be husband and wife. They looked up above their heads, just as I was doing. I had never heard so many swallows crying out at once in my life. And yet, there just hasn't been a single night in the past several months that I have stayed out that late. I have tried to remember the exact day this might have taken place, but for all of my flipping through my planner and trying to piece it together,
Next,
I simply can't remember.
I'm going to reading a very short story. It's Meganegoto. It means glasses thief, eyeglasses thief. メガネ強盗。2009年の1月1日の夕方、新幹線に乗るために品川駅にいた。新幹線乗り換えの改札を入り、トイレに行きかけたところで背中をつつかれた。振り返ると知らない男が立っている。50代ぐらい、背が高く古臭いジャケットにジャンパーを羽織っていた。メガネを貸してもらえませんかと男が言った。私はその時メガネをかけていた。こういう時どちらかといえばつい貸してしまう性格なのだが、3年ほど前にメガネを貸してくださいと言っては奪う連続強盗事件のニュースがあったのを思い出し、いえちょっとと答えた。ダメですかねと男は重ねて聞く。はいと答えると男はそのまま言ってしまった。無事に新幹線に乗り、2人掛けの座席の窓側に座った。隣は空いていたので荷物を置き、おにぎりを食べて眠った。静岡あたりで肩を叩かれて起こされた。目を開けると さっきの男が立っている。メガネ貸してもらえませんかと言う。嫌ですと答えた。男は何も言わず、他のメガネを物色するような様子で後ろへ歩いていった。しかし少なくとも数人いた車掌を含むメガネをかけた男性には声をかけていなかった。後日ニュースを検索したところ、2005年6月に川崎市中原区に住む29歳の男がメガネ強奪で逮捕されていた。若い男ばかり狙って使用中のコンタクトレンズまで奪っていたその男の自宅からは、メガネ約130本とコンタクトレンズ30組が押収されていた。午後10時ごろに実家に到着し、こたつに足を入れたら何か硬いものがかかとに当たり、強い痛みが走った。足を出してみると、足も押さえた手も血まみれ。後日判明したことだが、こたつの管状の赤外線ランプが割れて足に刺さったのだった。3日間は歩けず、文字通りの寝正月を過ごした。1月以上経つがまだ治らない。今年は厄年なので元旦からこれでは相当に危ないと思い、厄払いに行った。帰りに引いたおみくじは今日だったが、これくらいで勘弁してほしい。でもやっぱりメガネを貸していたらどうなったか気になる。貸してみたらよかったかなと思ってしまう。
The Glasses Thief. And this was translated by Shibata Motoyuki and Ted Goosen and appeared in Monkey Business. And I can't believe this is a true story. Late in the afternoon on New Year's Day, I was at Tokyo Shinagawa Station to take the Shinkansen bullet train. I was headed for Osaka to pay a holiday visit to my parents. I had passed through the ticket gate and was on my way to the restroom when someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around to find a man I had never seen before. He was probably in his 50s, tall, and wearing a dark jacket with a windbreaker slung over it. "Can I borrow your glasses?" he asked me. I had mine on at the time. Normally, I comply with this kind of request. But then I remembered a news item from roughly 3 years ago about a robber who asked passersby if he could borrow their glasses and then ran off with them. "Maybe not," I answered. "No? You sure?" the man said. "Yes," I replied, whereupon the guy walked away without saying another word. I boarded the bullet train and took a window seat. The aisle seat next to it was empty, so I put my bag there. I ate some rice balls and went to sleep. Somewhere around Shizuoka, I was awakened by another tap on the shoulder. I opened my eyes, and sure enough, there was the man from Shinagawa Station. "Let me borrow your glasses," he said. "No way," I answered. He didn't say anything then, just walked off toward the rear of the car, casting his eyes about in search of other quarry. I noticed that he didn't ask any of the glasses-wearing men in the car. There were several, including the conductor. When I checked later on the web, I found that a 29-year-old man from Nakahara-ku in Kawasaki had been arrested for stealing glasses back in 2005. According to the report, though, he had only robbed young men, sometimes even running off with their contacts. In his apartment, the police had discovered 130 pairs of glasses and 30 pairs of contact lenses. It was about 10 p.m. when I arrived at my parents' house. I went into the living room to relax, sat down on the tatami, and slid my legs under the quilt, covering the heated kotatsu table to warm them up. I felt my ankle strike something hard, and then a sharp pain. When I pulled my legs out, I saw one was bleeding. The hand I had instinctively clapped over the wound was also covered with blood. It turned out that the infrared bulb had broken, giving me a bad gash. I couldn't walk for 3 days, which meant that for me, the proverbial lazy New Year was the real thing. It has been over a month now, and still the leg isn't 100%. According to the zodiac, this is an unlucky year for someone my age, a yakudoshi. If this is the way it starts, I thought, I could be in for real trouble. So I visited a local shrine to try and remove the curse. I drew a fortune-telling slip on the way out And sure enough, it said, bad luck. I hope I've already received my full quota of bad luck for this year. I find myself wondering how things might have been if I had let the guy borrow my glasses. Maybe I should have just given them to him.
I will read my favorite lyric of Bob Dylan to celebrate. All I really want to do. I ain't looking to compete with you, beat or cheat or mistreat you, simplify you, classify you, deny, defy, or crucify you. All I really want to do is, baby, be friend with you. No, and I ain't looking to fight with you, frighten you or tighten you, drag you down or drain you down, chain you down or bring you down. All I really want to do is, baby, be friend with you. I ain't looking to block you up, shock or knock or lock you up, analyze you, categorize you, finalize you, advertise you. All I really want to do is, baby, be friend with you. I don't want to straight face you, race or chase you, track or trace you, or disgrace you, or dispraise you, or define you, or confine you. All I really want to do is, baby, be friend with you. I don't want to meet you, Kim, make you spin or do you in, or select you or deselect you, or inspect you or reject you. All I really want to do is, baby, be my friend with you. I don't want to fake you out, take or shake or forsake you out. I ain't looking for you to feel like me, see like me, or be like me. All I really want to do is, baby, be friends with you. Thank you.
To the author of the question, I was wondering how do you feel that you get your ideas? Because I think I heard that she's put out 19 books. That is a lot. I want to become an author myself, so I'm in awe of that achievement. And I was wondering, just in your personal experience, how do you get most of your ideas?
アイディアはどこから来ますか？
普段の生活が一番多いですね。普段の生活で、
Can you use the
What should we do? Should we stand up here?
off of its stand?
普段のin my ordinary life.
Yeah, everyday life.
Yeah, everyday life. From conversation with my friends or 景色、毎日見ている景色。
Yeah, from what she sees in the world. Yeah. Yeah.
で、その中に気になることがいくつかいつもあって、それがだんだんその種みたいなものが3つぐらいくっつくと小説になる。
And so there are various things that grab her attention, and if you can get 3 of those things together, somehow that cluster of things becomes a story. Yeah.
I actually have a question for Kendall.
Oh.
As someone who has perhaps not the skills to become a translator at this point, but has always wanted to translate literature, how did you start your translating? And how does one, perhaps in general, sort of come into a translation project?
Yeah, I can tell you my experience. There are far more experienced translators in this room who are all Oregon faculty. But maybe I'm somebody who's in between your faculty and you, and so I can just tell you what I think. I think it's always good to see what other people have translated and look at a translation against the original. I've done a lot of that in my time. What I have in print are mostly essays, film essays, things like that I've done. and a few shorter works of fiction. But tell me what you guys think, but I think novels are the hardest thing. I mean, to get that voice and I don't think I'm there quite yet with this. I'm still, I still feel there are places where I think, oh no, I need to keep working through this. So it's always a process of revision, but finding that voice can be really difficult. Yeah. I also think that just the more time you spend in Japan, the more these things clarify themselves to you. I mean, so much of what's happening here is what's not being said, and these short little phrases they exchange have so much meaning. And I think you feel the same way with English. As we've gone through all these airports yesterday, right? Every time I would say, that's okay. And Shibasaki-san would say, what's the nuance of that's okay?
Right?
You had a lot of...
Heineken would be great.
Yeah, somebody in the first row said, I need a beer. And he's first class, so he gets a beer. And the flight attendant said, we've got Heineken, we've got Budweiser, and she was in the middle of her list, and he just cut her off and said, Heineken would be great. And so...
at first, I thought Heineken would be great means...
Oh, awesome, I get a Heineken, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Great is
Yeah.
very positive word.
Right.
So I asked to Kendall, not
Yeah, my translation of it was, well, it's business speak. If you could get this done by Thursday, that'd be great. And so the word great appears in it, but maybe it's a get me that Heineken kind of feel, or just a non-committal, that'd be great. But you don't really mean it's great. And I think Japanese works that way. I mean, every language does. I think you have the short phrases can be the hardest thing to do because they could mean anything.
It's difficult for me.
Yeah, the short phrases, right? Yeah.
Can I ask it in Japanese and I can try to translate myself? 最近では文学にたしなむ若者はどんどん少なくなってきていると思うんですが、作家としてそれについてどうお考えですか?
And then
So I feel like recently the number of young people who are interested in interacting with literature is becoming fewer than it was in the past. So as an author, what do you think about that?
それは日本で別のイベントでも質問されたことがあるんですけど、でその時はうまく答えられなかったんですけど、その後で思ったのは、でも私の若い頃も、私がそのティーンエイジャーの頃も文学、自分の周りはそんなに小説を読む人はいなかったし、文学は読まれなくなっていると言われていたけれども、今もこうやって読んでいる人がいるので、いつの世も読む人はいるのではないかと思っているのと、そんなに私は他のジャンルとの差を感じないというか、自分は映画も音楽もポップカルチャーも何でも同じようにそんなに差を考えずに好きなので、そういうあまりこうジャンルをこれは文学でこれは文学ではないと文学の側から言わない方がいいというか、と思っています。
みんなは映画が好きだったらそれでも
別にそれと文学は別に近い、そこから生まれてくるものもあるし、文学と呼べるものもあるし、ボブ・ディランがノーベル文学賞を取ったというのも、その一つの現れじゃないでしょうか。
And so she's been asked this question before at talk events in Japan, and she didn't know how to answer. But her answer now is that when she was young, she wasn't really reading that much literature herself. And so now when she sees young people interested in literature, even, it's remarkable. And she thinks at any time there's somebody reading literature. And that's one part of the answer. And the other part is that she herself is interested in music and film and pop culture and all kinds of things. And she's not so particular about literature, maybe we can say. I mean, there is culture at large, and it's good that people are interested in different kinds of culture. And maybe Bob Dylan winning the Nobel Prize is a reflection of that.
それに若い人で面白い小説、若い人が面白い小説をたくさん書いてこんな小説の書き方があるのかっていうのがどんどんやっぱり次々現れてくるので、そこはあまり心配していないです。
若い作家が。
はい。
So there are young writers out there writing novels, and she's reading these novels and saying, wow, that's really interesting. So she herself is not that worried about the future of literature. She reads really widely. She met somebody in our Spanish department who had written a novel, and she had read his novel. She made his day. But yeah, we were all kind of taken aback. Yeah, so she is definitely a child of world literature.
You talked about the use of dialect in writing, and you noted as translator that most attempts to translate dialect try to bring it special that they fall flat on their face. So most translators basically don't do anything with it. As a translator myself, I've wrestled with this. My question is for the author: would she rather see? I can ask this in Japanese directly, but would she rather see a translator try to do something with dialect to make sure that that's represented in the translation, or is she comfortable with the dialect being flattened out into the rest of the language?
グリーンさんもすごいいろいろな本を翻訳したことがあるんですが、それでその関西弁の問題は本当に大変ですよね。それで柴崎さんはなんか英訳を見てなんか関西弁は透明になってきたね、なんかあまりなんか普通の英語になったらそれは問題になりますか？それともなんか
いや私は
表した方がいいと思いますか？
言葉英語で再現するのは難しいと思うので、その関西弁によって生まれてくるもの、その会話の関係性やそのちょっとユーモラスなことを言っているということが伝わればいいんじゃないかと思っているんですけど、言葉そのものの響きは難しくても、
Yeah, so she was born and raised speaking Kansai dialect, and if the I guess you said the humor of it comes through, then that's enough for her. How did I do? Anything else in there? Yeah.
だからその昨日少し話しましたけどトランプの今話題の会話のひどさは翻訳すると日本語では伝わらないんですけど、どうやればあれがひどいかっていうことが伝わればそれでいいのでは。
そうですね。So Donald Trump recently said, and I'm not going to say it, and you cannot convey.
あれがどうすれば日本語に伝わる。
Right. Yeah. So there's a word that begins with the letter P that he used, and Shibasaki-san was remarking on this and saying, you know, there's no way that the Japanese translators are conveying how horrible it was. We had this conversation, and I said, and the language is horrible, and just the general way he said it, and the gravelly voice saying it is, there's so many things that are horrible about it. It's hard to translate. And where were we going with that? But if you at least generally translate how bad it is, maybe that's enough, right? As long as we all know something very bad was said. Yeah.
永遠の課題ですよね。そこは翻訳の中でずっとある課題、解決することのない課題だと思う。
We will never solve this problem. It will always be with us. Yeah. ヒラリーさんの
だわとか
頭について話もいいですか？
はい。
Shibasaki-san sent me this article about Hillary Clinton being quoted in Japanese, and her sentences end with wa and kashira, which makes her very, very feminine in a standard way. And if we are not translating President Obama or Mitt Romney or Donald Trump this way, why are we doing this with the presidential candidate just because she's a woman? And was it in the Asahi Shimbun? Yomiuri Shimbun. There was a reporter who called out the media on this in Japanese, saying, why are we doing this? And so Translation, yeah, the never-ending problem.
I wanted to ask, you mentioned that in your introduction that Kenzo had asked Shibasaki-san and another writer to write something after 311 happened.
Right.
This is sort of a solicited. And I know a lot of journalists did this. And I wondered, Shibasaki-san, did you feel pressure to write a certain type of story, or what was there pressure on you as a writer to respond to that in a certain way, or no?
群像が小野さんと柴崎さんにその311の話をお願いした時なんかどんな感じでしたか？そんななんかこういう話を書かなければならないと思ってましたか？
まず難しいと思ったのと、書きたいと思ったのと、それはafter 311 in few months I couldn't write anything.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
そうそれを聞いてこれをきっかけに書き始められると思った。
その後
その書けなかったので、そのオファーがあってこれをきっかけにまた短い小説を書いてみようと思った。
So for several months after 311, she couldn't write anything, but because she had this offer from this magazine, that was what actually got her writing again.
その時は本当に日本全体、特に東京はとてもみんながナーバスだったの状態だったので、そこで自分はあまり直接的なことではなくて、でも何か自分その自身があったことによって自分の中で何か感じていたことを書ければと思った。
So after the earthquake, you've probably heard this in other settings, everybody was feeling very nervous. And even though you weren't directly affected by it, it was in the air, as they say. And so she was able to write about it because she too had this feeling.
で今5年経って読んでみると、そこまでもっと直接的に書いてもよかったんじゃないかと思うほど当時はすごくこうプレッシャーがあって世の中のそのナーバスな空気があったんだというのを今5年経った今読むと思います。
And so 5 years later, now she's reading this thing she wrote and thinks, oh, I couldn't have been more direct. Maybe I could have addressed it more directly. But that maybe is a sign of the kinds of unease that she felt at the time that she addressed it this way.
とてもいい機会だったと思います。書いてよかったと。
Yeah, it was a great opportunity that she was given, and so she was glad that she had it.
How, during all of that process, do you sort of have a sense for maintaining the author's original voice, or is that something that really consciously work on keeping?
Yeah. Right. I'm going to claim what I've heard other people claim, which is that you kind of get into the spirit of it and start to feel the voice, inside you. I think one of the things that's difficult about this is that, and I didn't say this in the introduction, and I don't know how she'll feel about me saying this, but there's a sense of intelligent whimsy to these stories, and it's a tightrope walk because I feel these are incredibly intelligent stories, and the characters in them are intelligent, but they are they're very fun-loving and alive, and they do not always feel the need to put that intelligence on display, and so they're allowed to be kooky in the moment, and it's very easy to fall off the tightrope and have them be stereotypes or idiots or to create this. I mean, for Sachiho, you could very easily fall into this valley girl type persona. Naka-chan, who believes he can warp from Osaka to Tokyo, appears in others of her stories. He really exists. She gets tweets from him or emails from him constantly. He wanders the world working odd jobs and doing strange things. And so there's this real life model, and he's crazy in these stories, but kind of crazy like a fox maybe. And so he's so honored to be in these stories that he's appeared at events with her, I guess, as the real life Naka-chan. Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, as you said earlier, one of her works has been adapted to film. So my question is, does she enjoy the adaptation, or does she think that something was lost in the transition from like page to screen? And would you like more of her work to be adapted?
その映画はどんな経験でしたか。なんか大体よくできたと思いますか。それから、
はい、
まあもっと小説が映画化されたらいいと思いますか。
他にもっていう、それはもちろん私はもともと映画がとても好きなので、どんな映画になるかが楽しみで、自分の思っていることをそのまま実現してほしいとは思っていないんですね。自分もっとどんな風になるのか、全然違ってもいいと思っていて、でその実際映画の撮影現場に1週間ぐらい通ったんですけど、それがとても不思議な経験で、自分の最初は小説って元は自分の妄想なので、それをテレビで見たことがある人が目の前で話し合っているのはとても奇妙な経験だったんです。それだけでもとても面白かったし、あとは映画は小説っていうのは自分の中だけで完結しているものではなくて、やっぱり読む人がいて成り立っている。そう読む人それぞれにこの小説がどんな小説だったかっていうのはその読んだ人それぞれの中にあるもので、雪貞さんはこの小説をこんな風に読んだんだなっていうのが映画だと思うんですよね。でそれがあんな風に立体的に見られるっていうのはとても自分にとって面白いことです。
And so, sure, she'd love to see other books made into films. When her work is made into a film, she said she really doesn't have any expectations for what they should do with it. And so she's not, she has no feelings of, you should have stuck to what I wrote in the novel. And she's rather more eager to see what they came up with. She was on the set of this film for about a week, and she said it was a very surreal experience to have these people that she's seen on TV standing right in front of her, talking to her, acting out her novel, and seeing it in film version was kind of like, you have people who read your novel and they all have their different idea of what the novel is, and so she was getting to see what the director Isao's concept of her novel was by the way that it was produced. And I'll add that there are some things in there that are unbelievably faithful to the text, and there are other parts that he just decided to add. And so it's really interesting as a study and adaptation. Yeah.
But I'm curious how this process of revision that happens before the republication of the materials like the Bunko version, and especially considering you've got this real strong interest in place and time, and then also like the time in the characters' lives. Do you see that as kind of an extension of that theme, to kind of reevaluate the work? Or how do you conceive of that process of rewriting or republishing?
単行本から文庫本になったら訂正してって編集してて、なんかちょっと直してるんですよね。それで柴崎さんのテーマとして、場所と時間のつながりについてずっと論じてて、これはそのテーマと関係ありますか。なんか時間が経って新しいバージョンを作ってて。
そうか、それちょっと考えたことがなかったので、考えてみたら面白い問題かもしれないですね。そうですね。
どういう経験ですかという一般的な質問も入っていましたが。
でも文庫になるときはまだ2年、3年ぐらいしか経っていないので、まだ自分がその小説と近いんですよね。まだ小説の中にいる状態で、そうするとまだ直したいとかどうしようかなと思うんですけど、もっと時間が経って5年以上経つともう私はその小説の中にはいないんですよね。もう外にいて遠くにいて、だから直すとかもう思わなくなるというか、かえってなんか 私結構面白いこと書いてるやんみたいになりますね。そういう意味ではその小説のまだ中にいるその世界の中にいる状態ともう外に時間が経ってそこから離れている状態っていうのはそのタイム&プレイスの感覚かもしれないですね。
2、3年後にはそんな感じがありますか？それはもっと後になったら。
もっと後ですね。
はい
2年くらいだとまだ3年だとまあどっちかな。
And so a lot of these revisions, just because of how publishing works, the paperback comes out maybe 2 or 3 years after the hardcover, and in that span of time, she's not that. Things haven't changed too much. She's still pretty close to the text, and so she's often revising it and feeling as though she's in the same place as she was before. She hadn't really thought about it as an extension of location, and she thinks that's really interesting to think about. And she said, but yeah, if I come back to something, a few years later, oh, I was in this place and this time when I wrote this, and that is interesting to think about. There's a different feeling. Tentatively, she's saying 5 years out and more, compared to just a couple of years out when she's revising.
私は小説を書いている時はその人たちの部屋に一緒に自分もいるというような感じで書いているんですね。その部屋に自分も遊びに行っているような感じで書いていて、
その登場人物が。
時間が経つともうその部屋には入れなくなるという感じですね。2年ぐらいだとまだちょっと入れてちょっと直せるんですけど。
So when she's writing a novel, it's like the characters are in the room with her, and she has access to that room, and she's surrounded by them. And 5 years out, it's as though it's a room that's closed, and she can no longer get into it. But if it's 2 or 3 years out, there's still sort of a way for her to get into the room.